Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing, and today we've got a combination that one of you guys suggested that we try out a good while ago, so I apologize it's taking me so long to get to it, but it's definitely going to be pretty interesting to see what this combination can actually do, because it could look really nice. But for the shells I brought out here today, I got out some of these, the Remington Express Magnum buckshot loads, but these ones are the 12 gauge 3-inch 10 pellet load of triple aught buck moving about 1225 feet per second. Now it's been a good while since we've tested any of these, but from what I can remember, they are some pretty decent performers and pretty surprising performers for a pretty standard Remington shell. So we know these have the potential to give us a nice pattern, but what are they actually going to do through today's choke, with them being a triple aught buck pellet? That's going to be the big question. And as for today's setup that we brought to run them through, I got out the Remington 1187 with the Kicks buck kicker full choke. This particular buck kicker measures out right at a 693 constriction, and it typically does give us some very nice buckshot patterns with pretty much any kind of decent buckshot shell we run through it. So in theory, this should work out pretty well with these Remington triple aught shells. But is that pellet going to be too big and not really jive too well with this choke? Or is the porting in this choke going to mess with those shells at all? I really don't know. I think we should see some pretty good performance out of it, but we don't really know until we try it. So we'll just have to see what happens. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards. I've got the chronograph so we can get our velocity, and I've got the templates that we can lay up over our target when we go down and check out our results. So let's get you guys a view of this target, and we'll take the shot and see just what we can get from these Remington Express triple aught shells through the Kicks buck kicker full choke. I'm thinking we should see a pretty decent result, but since they are a triple aught buck Remington shell, I really don't know how they're going to do. So let's go over here and take the shot and see what kind of pattern they give us. Alright, so that round gave us 1176 through the chrono. The bot's claim is 1225, so that's what, 49 feet per second under the claim. So we are moving a little bit slower than what they're saying we should be, but that is still within the realm of reason, all things considered. It's definitely not too far off. And a 10 pellet load of triple aught buck at 1176 is going to absolutely do some damage downrange. So looking pretty decent for velocity up here, but what kind of a pattern did that combo give us at 40? Let's go down and check it out and see what we got. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And I gotta say, that is pretty devastating, to say the least. It's unfortunate. We had one flyer over there on the right. If that one flyer was right there with the rest of them, that would be, without a doubt, probably the best buckshot pattern that we've gotten. But still, even with that one flyer, I did measure both with the flyer and without the flyer. And with the flyer, we had 13.5 inches, and without the flyer, we had 9 inches at 40 yards. I mean, that is nothing short of impressive, to say the least. So yeah, I would say that combination worked out fantastic. Now, I do think I forgot to mention earlier, these are a buffered load of triple aught buck. They do not have a wad, and the box does claim that a full choke is best for these shells. So I would say that buck kicker full choke did a fantastic job, because that is the best performance we've gotten out of these shells, hands down. I really wish that one flyer was over with the rest of them though, but still, that is completely devastating without a doubt. So now let's throw a couple templates up and see how this actually looks in some real life type of scenarios. Alright, so there's your 10-inch circle, and as you can see, you have 9 out of the 10 pellets within a 10-inch circle, and that one flyer over there on the right, which we already kind of knew that with the 9-inch spread of those 9 pellets in there. So yeah, for a core, I don't think you can get much better than that, unless that one flyer was in there. So that's about as good as you could ask for right there. So let's move over to some animal templates and put those up and see what this looks like in an actual hunting type of scenario. Alright, so here's our deer template, and as you can see, I scooted it just a touch farther over to the right than maybe what I typically would, but our pattern was to the right a little bit, and clearly that would be absolutely devastating. I don't think that deer would be moving anywhere at all, even out at 40 yards with that kind of a pattern. Everything except for that one flyer is right through the heart and lungs right there. So yeah, that would be a very nice deer hunting combination. There's no doubt about that. That would absolutely put the hammer down on them. So I don't know that we can get a whole lot better than that, except for that one flyer. So looking good there, but let's throw the hog template up, which is a little bit smaller of an animal, and see how that looks as well. I think it's going to be pretty much the same story, but I've got the template out here, so we might as well glance at it. Alright, so here's that hog template, and yeah, it is pretty well the exact same story. You would absolutely have a table full of bacon right there all day long. He's not going to go anywhere, I don't think, on that one. So at the end of the day here, that combination worked out as good as what we could really ask for it. I wish that one flyer was over there with the rest of them, but we could shoot 5 of those shells, and they would all have slightly different flyers, I would say. So that's kind of just luck of the draw on this one, maybe. So I don't think there's very much more I can say about that. I think it kind of speaks for itself. That would be absolutely devastating for a hunting shell, that's for sure. You can hunt deer, you can hunt pigs. I mean, with that kind of a pattern, most people don't even think a triple out buck for a coyote or a fox shell, but man, that would be absolutely devastating for those guys as well. That's a pattern that you could easily push out to 50 yards and probably even 60 as well and still have more than enough for whatever you would need it for. So nothing short of impressive for today's performance. I expected some good results, but maybe not quite that impressive. But that's why you always test different combinations and see what works and what doesn't. Because when you find a really good combination, then it can be hard to beat them sometimes. So looking fantastic for today, I would say. Definitely no complaints other than me just being picky with that one flyer. But if that's the worst we've got to complain about, then I'll take it. Alright, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance right there? I don't really think we can get much better than that out of it. Just that one flyer over there off the right edge. If that was with the rest of them, it would be pretty much the perfect buckshot pattern at 40 yards. I mean, that's a 10 pellet loaded triple aught buck flying down range at almost 1,200 feet per second. That's going to be absolutely devastating on a deer or a hog or even down into the coyote and fox territory. And you probably could use that as like a good bear defense load and stuff as well if you needed to. So yeah, that is definitely nothing short of impressive, that's for sure. I expected some pretty decent results, but you can't really beat that. That's definitely in like top 3 of best buckshot patterns we've ever gotten with the flyer. If we get rid of that flyer and don't count it, that's probably top of the list because I don't think you can get much better than about 9 inches or so at 40 yards. So yeah, that is nothing short of impressive here at the end of the day. But I guess leave your thoughts in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the Remington Express triple aught buck shells? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? I mean, for a relatively basic loaded, just buffered load of buckshot, that kind of performance right there is hard to argue with. So I'd say we found an absolute hammer of a combination here, that's for sure. So let me know all your thoughts about it down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one.